everyone, it's Missy, and today I'm making a freeform cropped topper, and this is a top that you would wear over another shirt. I am making this pattern in size small, but you can also look at the directions, which I'm going to have in the description below, for a size medium, large, extra large, and extra extra large. So you have to do is click on the link and you'll go right to the red heart pattern. The supplies that you will need for this are yarn that is size 4 or medium weight. So I have it in gray, gold, red, black, and blue. And you can really choose any colors that you want. This is kind of a neat project to use when you're using scrap yarn. Gray is going to be my base color, so that's why I have more of that. And again, you can check the pattern to make sure that you have enough of the yarn to complete this top. The top is going to be worked so it's a pullover, so it's an easy pattern to make. The special stitch in this pattern is going to be a reverse single crochet. I think that would be like the hardest stitch in this pattern for those of you who are not used to crocheting a lot. And then what we're going to do is work our underlying piece first, the mesh piece. We'll make the pieces separately that we sew on, and we're making like different motifs, so flowers and circles and kind of some different ribbing. And I'll have this in parts just to keep the videos in short length, and then I will be showing you how to make a piece and let you do the rest of the pieces on your own when it comes to the motifs. But if you have any questions at all, you can leave a comment below and I'll answer them as we go through this. I think it will be a fun project, and I hope you guys kind of enjoy making garments for yourselves. I know I've done a lot of doll patterns, but I think it's kind of cool if you can wear your creations too. So I'm using an eye crochet hook. Make sure that you get the crochet hook use the crochet hook to meet the gauge. The gauge is in the pattern, but it is 4 mesh pattern repeats should equal 4 inches or 10 centimeters. So 1 mesh pattern repeat consists of 1 single crochet and 1 chain 5 space, and 7 rows of that would get your 4 inches. You also want to have a pair of scissors too on the handy, and then you can use a tapestry needle too when you're sewing the pieces together. But I'm going to start with my gray yarn, and we're going to make the back of the garment first. So I'm going to create a slip knot. You just loop your yarn over, put my thumb on the edge, bring the yarn behind, take your hook, and just pull up that loop, pull tight, then you got your slip knot. You're going to chain 92 stitches. So remember, for making a chain, you yarn over and you just pull through the loop, and that's a chain stitch. Once you've completed your chain stitches, we are going to make the foundation row. To do this, we're going to single crochet in the second chain from hook. So you just count back for your chains. That's 1, 2, insert your hook into that chain stitch, yarn over, pull that loop through, so you have 2 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. That's a single crochet stitch. Then we're going to chain 5, we're going to skip the next 4 chain stitches that are unworked, so 1, 2, 3, 4, insert the hook into the 5th chain stitch, and single crochet. So we have this loop that we made. We're going to chain 5, skip 4 chain stitches, single crochet in the 5th one. We're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way across, and when we're done with the foundation row, I'll have 18 of these spaces. When you have finished your foundation row, this is what it should look like. It's kind of a series. It looks like a large chains in a way. When you have finished your foundation row, you can turn your work. Now we're ready to begin row 1. To do this, we are going to chain 5, and then we're going to single crochet in the first chain 5 space. So you're just going to insert your hook into this hole, yarn over, and pull through a loop, and complete your single crochet stitch. So you're creating another loop here, and the stitch might slide around on you, but that's okay. It will even out as we continue along the row. So we want to chain 5 again, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. We're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way down row 1, so we'll have another series of spaces. And I believe when we reach the end, I'll come back. There's something a little bit different. So just continue chaining 5 and single crocheting in each chain 5 space of the previous row. I have made it to the end of the row where I have single crocheted in the last chain 5 space. This is where I'm going to do something a little bit different from the pattern. I'm now going to chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet in the last single crochet made. So to do a double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook on top of the single crochet stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. That's a double crochet. And now I have finished the first row in our pattern, and the double crochet that I made is going to count as 3 chain stitches. So I have technically a chain 5 space here, so when I count, I have 19 chain 5 spaces in row 1. I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to do row 2, and I am going to chain 7. And this counts as a double crochet and a chain 5 here and throughout the rest of the pattern. I'm going to skip the first chain 5 space and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. So I'm skipping this, going right in here, and single crocheting. Oops. There we go. So it's going to kind of look like that. Next, I am going to chain 5, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And we're going to keep repeating that across again, chaining 5 and single crocheting in each of the chain 5 spaces. And then I will come back and show you how to finish off row 2. I have come now to where I single crocheted in the second to last chain 5 space. We are going to skip this last chain 5 space, so I will chain 5, and double crochet in the third chain of this beginning chain 3. Remember we did in the previous row we had 2 chains and a double crochet. Well, to get a double crochet you count 3 chain stitches, and I'm just going to insert my hook into the third one, or the middle chain in the chain 5 space here, and I'll just double crochet. Oh, got my yarn turned. There we go. So then we have finished row 2. And I'll have a total of 18 of these chain 5 spaces. So now we can do row 3. we turn our work. We're going to chain 5, and single crochet in the first chain 5 space. Chain 5 again, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. We're just going to keep repeating that all the way across to the end of the row. When we get to the end, after you've single crocheted in the chain 5 space, you will chain 2, and then I'll show you at the end of the row what we do. I guess it is a little different from the previous rows, but just chain 5, single crochet in the chain 5 space of the previous row until you get to the last chain 5 space in this row. I single crocheted in the last chain 5 space. I'm going to chain 2. Now I'm going to double crochet in the second chain at the beginning, chain 5 here. So just going to go right into that second chain stitch. Double crochet to finish out the row, and it looks like that. So that's the end of row 5. I have a total of these 19 chain 5 spaces, and you kind of have like this little mesh going. It looks pretty good. Like I said, we're going to be sewing our motifs to this. So what I want to do now is just measure, and I have 2 inches of that. What I need to do is get 4 inches. So I'm going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until this piece measures the 4 inches of thickness. Probably repeating row 2 and 3 2 more times. That will get me the 7 rows I'm looking for that 4-inch gauge that I was talking about earlier. So if you want, you can kind of rewind this video and go back to where I start row 2 and just keep repeating rows 2 and 3. The row 2 to start out with is the one where you chain 7, and then row 3 you start out with chaining 5. And that's what I'll do. Once I get this measuring 4 inches, we will be ready to do the armhole shaping. So I finished the back portion. I got my 4 inches in length that I was looking for. There is a diagram also on the pattern, like I said, that I link below, and that kind of shows you too what the measurements are supposed to be, which is very helpful when you're crocheting a garment. And right now, your piece, if you're making a small like I am, should measure 18 inches from this end all the way to the other end, and mine does. So I know that what I'm working in is going to work out for me. But if you're at the point where it doesn't match the diagram, like I said, it's going to have the size for all the different size ways that you can make the garment: medium, large, extra large, extra, extra large. So just look at that diagram, follow the measurements, measure out your piece right now. If it's not right, it's not going to go well for the rest of the item. I would just pull everything out, start over again. But now that I know I have my nice rectangle the way I want it, I can do the armhole shaping. And for the back piece, it's pretty simple. What I'm going to do is turn my work, and I will work 4 slip stitches in the first 2 chain 5 spaces. So I'm just putting my hook through the first chain 5 space, yarn over, and you pull that loop through all the loops. That is a slip stitch. So, I mean, it's not too terribly difficult. This really isn't a stitch that you use too often in crocheting, but what it does is it lets you move down the row like so, and then go and just keep going down so you can start crocheting in another spot. So I finished the first space, I'm going into the next space, just continuing down the line. Okay, so I got 4 slip stitches in the first space, 4 slip stitches in the next space. Now I need to chain 5. And then I will single crochet in the next chain 5 space. I will chain 5 again, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. I'm just going to keep working this way down the row until I get to the last 2 chain 5 spaces, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay, so I single crocheted in the 3rd chain 5 space from the end of the row. So I have these 2 chain 5 spaces, and we're going to just leave these unworked. We don't want to do anything with these. So this finishes off our first armhole shaping row, and you're just going to turn your work. And now we're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 from the back. And so I have a total now of 14 chain 5 spaces. Obviously you're not going to be doing all the chain 5 spaces like we did on the bottom. But I will be starting on row 2 pattern where you chain 7. And then you single crochet, skip the first chain 5 space and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And like I said, you can rewind the video, go back to where I did rows 2 and 3. And you are going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until the back of the piece measures, if you're doing a size small, be 5 inches. So then you'll have like this little bump down here that just stays, and then we're going to be measuring from here up to here would be your 5 inches. You can measure that out. Yeah. So I'll be repeating rows 2 and 3 several times just to get the measurements, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what the piece looks like before we go on to our first shoulder. When you have finished your rows and the piece measures a total of 9 inches, 4 inches down here, 5 inches up here, it should look like this. This would be the entire back. I know my camera's a little close so you can't see the whole thing, but we have a nice back piece that matches the diagram in the pattern. So the next thing we're going to do is the shoulder. I'm going to take my project and turn, and I'm going to chain 5. Single crochet in the chain 5 space, chain 5 again, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. That completes one row right there. What we're going to do is we're just going to repeat that going up the shoulder. We're going to leave the rest of this unworked, so I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 5, single crochet in the chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet in the chain 5 space. If I put my work down, get my ruler, I have about 1.5 inches. So I will probably need to do another row. I'm just gonna double check. Yep. Okay, so I'll do another row because I'm looking for a total of 2 inches. Okay. Piece. And it doesn't matter if you end on the right side or the wrong side with this. There, I got my 2 inches. Just because this is going to be under the motifs that we sew on. So I'm going to fasten off now. What I do is I just cut a tail yarn like so. I yarn over, pull that whole yarn tail through the loop. Now I have fastened off. And now my garment measures 11 inches in length, which is exactly what I need for a size small. So now I'm ready to do the second shoulder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count over 10 chain 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to work in the last 2 chain 5 spaces on this side. I'm going to take my yarn, make a slip knot, and I'm just going to join my yarn into that 10th chain 5 space with a single crochet. I'm going to chain 5 and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Chain 5 again, single crochet in the next chain 5 space. I'm going to turn my work. I'm just going to keep repeating this pattern. And I'm just making a mirror image of the other side of this garment. So it's going to look like, it's going to be another 2 inches that I'm looking for. Okay, I think that's good. I'm just going to set this down. Check it out. That's 2 inches. So I'm going to fasten off, and that finishes the back. The next part we're going to do is we'll do the sleeves, I think, next, and the front pieces as well. Probably do the front pieces next, actually, in the pattern, so I stay in line with it.